The ship was called the Olive Branch. It was a name chosen with care and hope. The humans who built it wanted peace. They wanted friendship with the older races of the galaxy. They wanted to trade, to learn, and to grow alongside beings who had traveled the stars for thousands of years before humanity took its first steps on the moon. Ambassador Elena Vasquez stood at the observation window and watched the stars pass by. She was 43 years old with gray streaks in her dark hair and laugh lines around her eyes. She had spent 20 years working toward this moment, 20 years of learning alien languages, studying alien cultures, and believing that one day humanity would take its rightful place among the stars. Behind her the ship hummed with life. 2,000 souls called the Olive Branch home. Scientists, diplomats, families, and children. There was a school on Deck 7 where young voices recited the histories of alien civilizations. There was a garden on Deck 12 where flowers from Earth grew under artificial sunlight. There was love on this ship. There was hope. Ambassador, said Captain David Chen, stepping up beside her. We're entering conquered space. The beacon is transmitting our peaceful intentions on all frequencies. Elena nodded. How long until we reach the council station? 6 hours. 6 hours until humanity met the conquered council. 6 hours until they would bow before the 7 elder races and ask humbly for the right to exist as equals. Elena had practiced her speech 1,000 times. She knew every word, every pause, every respectful gesture. She did not know that she would never deliver it. Far away in a chamber of crystal and light, the conquered council watched the human vessel approach. The chamber was ancient. It had existed for 10,000 years, and in that time the council had ruled the galaxy with absolute power. They had seen species rise and fall. They had crushed rebellions and erased civilizations. They were gods in all but name. The Vithrani hierarch sat at the center of the council. His body was made of living crystal, beautiful and cold. Light passed through him and scattered into rainbows, but his eyes held no warmth. He had lived for 3,000 years, and in that time he had learned to see other species as insects, useful sometimes, annoying often, never equal. The humans request an audience, said the Korath High Commander. He was a massive creature covered in scales the color of dried blood. His people provided the military might of the conquered. They enjoyed violence the way others enjoyed music. I am aware, said the hierarch. His voice was like wind chimes in a cold wind. I have read their transmission. They wish to trade. They wish to be recognized as a civilized species. They wish to be our equals. Laughter rippled through the council. It was not kind laughter. They have existed for barely a moment, said the Nethys observer, a being of shadow and whispers. Their entire history is a blink of an eye. They fight among themselves like animals. They poison their own world, and they dare to approach us as equals. They are vermin, agreed the Korath commander. Vermin that have spread to 12 worlds. If we allow them to continue, they will spread further. They breed quickly. These humans, they adapt. They are persistent. The hierarch considered this. He looked at the image of the olive branch floating in the holographic display. Such a small ship, such fragile creatures inside. They had named their vessel after a plant, a symbol of peace. From their primitive world. How quaint, how naive. We should send a message, the hierarch said slowly, not just to the humans, but to all lesser species who might forget their place. The galaxy belongs to the elder races. It always has, it always will. What message do you propose? Asked the observer. The hierarch smiled. It was not a pleasant expression. Destroy the ship, all of it. Broadcast the destruction across every channel. Let everyone see what happens to vermin who reach above their station. There was a moment of silence, then one by one the council members nodded. It was not a difficult decision for them. 2,000 lives meant nothing. Humans meant nothing. This was simply pest control. On the olive branch, Elena was in her quarters reviewing her notes when the first alarm sounded. She looked up, confused. They had done everything right. They had followed every protocol. They had announced their peaceful intentions on every frequency. Ambassador, Captain Chen's voice crackled over the intercom. Get to the bridge now. The corridors were filling with confused people. A child was crying somewhere. A young officer helped an elderly scientist move faster. Elena pushed through them all and burst onto the bridge. What she saw through the viewscreen stole her breath. Ships, hundreds of ships, Korath warships, surrounded the olive branch like wolves around a lamb. Their weapons were already glowing with deadly energy. They're not responding to our hails, Chen said. His face was pale. They're just sitting there waiting for what? The answer came in the form of a transmission. The Vithrani hierarch's face appeared on every screen throughout the ship. His crystal features held no emotion. His voice held no mercy. You are humans, he said. You are nothing. You came to us seeking recognition. Instead, you will receive a lesson. Your species will learn its place. You will watch as we erase your vessel from existence, and you will understand that the galaxy has no room for vermin. Elena stepped forward. Please, we came in peace. There are children on this ship, families. We mean no harm to anyone. The hierarch tilted his head slightly. There are insects in my garden. They mean no harm either. I still crush them. The transmission ended. Full power to engines, Chen shouted. Get us out of here. But the olive branch was a diplomatic vessel. It was not built for speed or combat. It was built for hope. And hope in that moment was not enough. The Korath ships opened fire on Earth. President Mohammed Chen sat in his office and watched the live transmission. The council was broadcasting the destruction to the entire galaxy, just as they had promised. They wanted everyone to see. They wanted everyone to learn. Mohammed watched the olive branch shatter. He watched escape pods launch and get picked off one by one. He watched the Korath ships hunt down every survivor with terrible patience. He watched 2,000 people die in fire and silence and darkness. Among them was his daughter Sarah. She was 24 years old. She had joined the mission as a junior attaché because she believed in peace. She believed in the goodness of the universe. She believed that if humanity just reached out with open hands, they would find friends among the stars. The last image the transmission showed was the olive branch breaking apart. Debris scattered across the void, bodies tumbled in the darkness, and then there was nothing, just empty space where hope used to be. Mohammed sat in silence for a long time. His advisors spoke around him, but he heard nothing. His vision had narrowed to a single point. His heart had become stone. Finally he spoke. His voice was quiet, calm, terrifying in its Stillness, get me every military commander, every scientist, every leader of every colony, now within hours the most powerful humans in existence, gathered in a secure facility beneath the Antarctic ice. They had watched the same transmission, they had seen the same massacre. Some had lost family on the olive branch, others had lost friends, all of them had lost something they could never get back. Mohammed stood before them, his face showed no tears, his voice showed no weakness. He was no longer a president, he was something older, something darker. He was a father who had watched his child burn. They think we are vermin, he said. They think we will crawl away and hide. They think we will accept our place. He paused. They are wrong. He looked at the faces before him, humans from every nation, every culture, every belief. They had fought each other for thousands of years. They had shed oceans of blood over lines on maps and words in books. But now, in this moment, they were one. Forged by fire, we will not attack them. Tomorrow, Mohammed continued, we will not attack them. Next year, we will take our time, we will learn, we will build. We will become something they cannot imagine, and when we are ready, we will teach them a lesson they will never forget. He turned to the screen behind him. On it was a simple phrase in letters of burning gold, 2 words that every human commander would carry in their hearts for the next 5 years. Remember Carthage. The room was silent. Then one by one, every person present stood. They did not cheer, they did not shout, they simply stood in terrible silence and made a promise. The council had wanted to send a message to the galaxy. They had succeeded beyond their wildest dreams, but the message was not the one they intended. The message was this: humanity remembers, humanity waits, and humanity never forgives. In the void where the olive branch once flew, debris drifted in silence. Child's toy, a photograph, a single flower from the garden on deck 12. These were the remains of hope. These were the seeds of something far darker. The galaxy did not know it yet. The elder races did not know it yet, but the moment they shed human blood, they had signed their own extinction. They just did not know how to read the signature. Yet 5 years passed in silence. Conquered council quickly forgot about the humans. Why would they remember? Humans were nothing, a minor species on the edge of civilized space. The destruction of the olive branch had served its purpose. The vermin had learned their place. They had retreated to their little worlds and gone quiet. The elder races returned to their decadent lives. Without a second thought, the Vithrani continued their slave trade. They bought and sold lesser species like livestock. Their crystal cities grew taller and more beautiful, built on the backs of beings they considered worthless. The hierarch held grand celebrations where he displayed his collection of rare species in cages of light. The Korath expanded their mining operations. They stripped worlds bare and left nothing but dust. If native species lived on those worlds, the Korath did not care. They either worked the mines until they died or they were eliminated. Immediately, the scales of the Korath were always stained with blood. Other elder races were no better. The Nethys observers, people traded in secrets and blackmail. The Meldari experimented on captured beings without consent. The thrill consumed entire ecosystems to fuel their ships. The galaxy was a place of cruelty, and the council saw nothing wrong with this. Meanwhile, in the dark spaces between Stars humanity was changing, Commander. Yuki Tanaka stood on the observation deck of Forge Station 7 and watched the construction drones work. She was 40 years old now, her hair was cut short, and her eyes held a hardness that had not been there 5 years ago. 5 years ago, she had been a loving wife who dreamed of exploring the galaxy with her partner. Now she was something else entirely. Her wife May had been a Buddhist on the olive branch. She had maintained the garden on Deck 12. She had spent her days growing flowers and vegetables and dreaming of the day when humans would plant gardens on alien worlds. May had believed in beauty. She had believed in peace. May had died believing those things. Yuki would make sure she was the last human to die with such beliefs. Commander, said Lieutenant Park, approaching with a data pad. The Nemesis is complete. All systems are operational. Yuki looked at the ship taking shape in the construction bay. It was massive, black as space itself, built not for exploration or defense, but for one purpose only: destruction. Pure absolute destruction. How many does that make? She asked. 742 capital ships, 12,000 support vessels, and the weapons. Park hesitated. The weapons are beyond anything the Council has ever seen. Yuki nodded. 5 years of every human scientist, every engineer, every brilliant mind working toward a single goal. They had captured, conquered technology and taken it apart piece by piece. They had learned how it worked, and then they had improved it. The elder races had grown comfortable over thousands of years. They had stopped innovating. Why improve what already worked? They were the masters of the galaxy. Nothing could challenge them. So they had grown lazy. Their technology was ancient and unchanged. Humans were not lazy. Humans never stopped improving. Humans looked at alien weapons and asked, how can we make this deadlier? They looked at alien shields and asked, how can we break through these? They looked at alien ships and asked, how can we destroy these faster? The answers were floating in construction bays across 12 worlds. The answers were the Nemesis fleet on Earth. President Chin addressed the unified government of humanity. There were no more separate nations now. No more flags, no more borders. The massacre of the olive branch had accomplished what thousands of years of war could not. It had united humanity under a single purpose. Today marks the FTH anniversary of the olive branch, Chen said. His voice was calm, measured. 5 years ago we lost 2,000 innocent people. 5 years ago the Council called us vermin. 5 years ago we made a promise. He paused. Chamber was silent. Every human watching knew what came next. That promise is almost ready to be kept. Across human space the preparations continued. Children who had been 8 years old when the olive branch was destroyed were now 13. They had grown up hearing the names of the dead. They had grown up knowing that somewhere in the galaxy there were beings who had murdered innocent humans and laughed about it. They had grown up with hatred in their hearts, but it was not wild hatred. It was not hot and passionate and reckless. It was cold, patient, methodical. Human hatred was a weapon that could be sharpened over time, and 5 years had made it very sharp. Indeed, in a training facility on Mars, young soldiers practiced combat maneuvers against holographic enemies, shaped like Korath warriors. Their instructor, a scarred veteran named Jackson, watched them with approval. Remember, he told them, we are not Fighting a war. Wars have rules. Wars have mercy. Wars have surrender. He shook his head. This is not a war. This is an execution. The council signed the death warrant when they killed the olive branch. We are simply carrying out the sentence. The soldiers nodded. They understood. They had been taught to understand since they were children. The council was not an enemy to be defeated. They were a disease to be eradicated. In a laboratory on Titan, Dr. Sarah Kim examined the latest weapon design. It was elegant in its horror, a virus that could target specific alien biologies, bomb that could crack a planet's crust, a field that could shut down all technology within 1,000 km. Human scientists have become very creative in their research. Is this necessary? Asked her young assistant, looking at the plans with troubled eyes. These weapons, they're designed for genocide. Dr. Kim looked at him. She was 60 years old. She had lost her entire family on the olive branch, her parents, her sister, her niece, who had been only 7 years old. What did the council do to us? She asked quietly. They killed our people. They did more than kill. They broadcast the deaths across the galaxy. They laughed while our children burned. They called us vermin. She turned back to her work. They wanted to teach us a lesson about power. We learned it. Now we will teach them. The assistant said nothing more. On 4 Station 7, Yuki received a message from Command. She read it 3 times to make sure she understood correctly. Then she allowed herself a small smile. It was not a happy smile. It was the smile of someone who had waited 5 years for this moment. The message was simple. It begins. 3 weeks later, a Korath mining outpost on the edge of conquered space detected something strange. Their sensors picked up thousands of signatures emerging from slip space. The officer on duty frowned at his screen. What is this? He muttered. There are no scheduled arrivals. He tried to identify the ships. The computer returned an error. Unknown configuration, unknown origin, unknown everything. Send a message to command, the officer ordered. Tell them we have unidentified vessels approaching, thousands of them. The communication officer tried to comply. He tapped at his console. Then he looked up with confusion. Sir, our communications are being jammed. The officer felt the first cold touch of fear. He had served for 30 years. He had never felt afraid before. Korath did not feel fear. Korath were the ones who caused fear in others, but something about those ships approaching in perfect formation made his scales grow cold. Battle stations. He ordered all weapons online. It was pointless. The outpost had 12 patrol ships and a handful of defense platforms. The approaching fleet numbered in the thousands, but they Korath would not run. The Korath would fight to the death. They did not have to wait long for death to arrive. The first human ships came into visual range. They were black as the void between stars. They carried no flags. They broadcast no demands. They simply approached in terrible silence. Then across every speaker on the outpost, a voice began to speak. It was a human voice, female. Calm. It was reading names. Elena Vasquez, David Chen, May Tanaka, Sarah Chen, Marcus Webb Jr., Yuki's beloved James Morrison, Ana Rodriguez, Tommy Anderson, age 7. The names went on and on. 2,000 names, 2,000 human beings who had died 5 years ago in this very region of space. The Korath officer listened In growing horror, he did not understand the significance of the names. He did not know the humans were reading the names of their dead before every battle. He only knew that the voice was the coldest thing he had ever heard. When the last name was spoken, the voice went silent. Then the human ships opened fire. The outpost lasted 4 minutes. The 12 patrol ships lasted 6. When it was over, there was nothing left but debris and darkness. In her quarters aboard the UES, remember, Yuki Tanaka ended the recording of the names. She had spoken every name from memory. She would speak them again before the next battle and the next in the next, until there were no more enemies left to hear them. Commander, said Park over the intercom, the outpost is destroyed. No survivors, no distress. Signal sent. Good, Yuki said. Move to the next target. Yes, Commander. And Commander, the crew wanted me to tell you something. What? May would be proud. Yuki closed her eyes. Tears ran down her cheeks, but when she opened her eyes again, they were dry and hard as stone. No, she said quietly. May would be horrified, but May is dead and I have work to do. The Nemesis fleet moved deeper into conquered space. Behind them, they left nothing but silence and ashes. Ahead of them, the elder races continued their lives in blissful ignorance, but not for long. In the council chamber, a minor official delivered a routine report. Contact had been lost with 3 frontier outposts, probably a communication malfunction. Nothing to worry about. The hierarch barely listened. He was planning a celebration for the anniversary of the olive branch's destruction. He wanted to commemorate the day he had put humanity in its place. He was thinking about what rare species to display in cages of light. He did not know that the cages were about to be opened. He did not know that the vermin had been building weapons in the dark. He did not know that the silence of the frontier was not a malfunction. It was a warning. The attacks came everywhere at once. On 47 Korath worlds, human fleets appeared from slip space without warning. They did not send demands. They did not ask for surrender. They did not negotiate. They simply began firing. High Commander Vreth of the Korath stood on the bridge of his flagship and watched his empire burn. He was the most decorated warrior of his species. He had crushed rebellions. He had conquered worlds. He had bathed in the blood of 100 different species. He had never known defeat. Now he was learning. How is this possible? He roared. These are humans, primitives, vermin. Their weapons are beyond anything we have seen, said his tactical officer. The young Korath's voice trembled. Our shields cannot stop their fire. Our armor cannot resist their bombs. They are cutting through our fleets like we are nothing. Vree watched another of his ships explode on the viewscreen. The human vessels moved with perfect coordination. They wasted no shots. Every weapon found its target. It was not combat. It was slaughter. What do they want? Rek demanded. Send them a message. Ask them their terms. The communication was sent. The response came quickly. It was a single sentence. We want you gone. Vree stared at the message in disbelief. Gone? What did that mean? Surrender. Retreat. What were the humans asking for? The answer came in fire and blood. On Korath Prime, the home world of the Korak species, civilians looked up at the sky in confusion. Bright lights were appearing in orbit, pretty light stars being born. They did not know that each light was a Korath warship dying. they did not know that the human fleet had broken through every defense. They did not know that in less than 1 hour their world would no longer exist. Commander Tanaka stood on the bridge of the Remember and watched the orbital bombardment begin. Her face showed no emotion. Her voice was steady when she gave the orders, but deep inside something was screaming. She was about to kill billions men, women, children. Most of them had never heard of the olive branch. Most of them had never harmed a human. Most of them were innocent, but the council had killed innocent humans. The council had murdered children. The council had laughed and called humanity vermin, and the Korath had provided the ships that did the killing. Open fire. Tanaka ordered. All batteries, maximum yield. The Remember fired around it. The entire human fleet fired. Weapons of terrible power rained down on Korath Prime. The planet cities burned. Its oceans boiled. Its mountains crumbled. In 16 hours 3 billion Korath died. Tanaka stood at her window and watched the planet die. She did not look away. She owed the dead that much. She owed herself that much. If she was going to do this, she would not pretend it was something else. Commander, said Lieutenant Park quietly, you should rest. No, Tanaka's voice was barely a whisper. I will watch. I will remember every life we take. I will carry. That is the price of what we are doing. The council killed our people. Without a second thought, they felt nothing. Yes, and we will not become them. Tanaka turned to face her officer. Her eyes were red but dry. We will feel every death. We will carry every sin. And we will never pretend that this was anything other than what it is. What is it? Murder. Necessary murder, but murder. Nonetheless, the fleet moved on behind them. Korath Prime was a dead world. Message written in fire. In the council chamber, the hierarch finally understood what was happening. Reports flooded in from across conquered space. Korath worlds destroyed. Korath fleets eliminated. 3 billion dead in a single day, and the humans were still coming. This is impossible, the hierarch said. His crystal body flickered with agitation. The humans had nothing. They were primitives. How could they do this? They had 5 years, said the Nethys observer. Its shadowy form rippled with something that might have been fear. 5 years to prepare. 5 years to build. 5 years to turn grief into weapons. We should have watched them more closely. We did not think them worth watching. We thought they were vermin. The observer's voice was bitter. We were wrong. The Korath High Commander appeared on the holographic display. His scales were pale. His eyes were wild. Behind him, his flagship was burning. Help us, he begged. Send reinforcements. Send anything. They are everywhere. They are destroying everything. We will send what we can. The hierarch said, hold your positions. Fight back. You do not understand. The commander's voice cracked. They are not fighting. They are not trying to win territory or resources. They are trying to kill us. All of us, every single Korath in existence. He laughed. It was not a sane laugh. They are not waging war. They are conducting genocide. Transmission cut off as the flagship exploded. The council sat in stunned silence. For the first time in 10,000 years they felt fear, real fear, the kind of fear they had inflicted on countless other species, the kind of fear they thought they would never experience themselves. We must unite, said the Meldari overseer. All of our fleets, all of our resources, together. We can stop them, can we? The observers. Voice was quiet. Look at what they did. To the Kori, the Korath were warriors. They lived for battle, and the humans destroyed them in days. The humans are few, we are many. If we combine our forces, they were building for 5 years. 5 years. While we celebrated and feasted and congratulated ourselves on putting them in their place, the observer spread its shadowy limbs. What else did they build in those 5 years? What other surprises are waiting for us? No one had an answer. Far from the council chamber, General Marcus Webb led his fleet toward Bethrani's space. He was 60 years old now. His hair was white, his face was lined with grief that would never heal. His daughter Alina had been the ambassador on the olive branch. She had been the one who believed in peace. She had been the one who reached out with open hands. The Vethrani hierarch had ordered her death. He had called her an insect. He had laughed. He had not laughed in 5 years. General said his aide, we have intercepted a communication. A VTHRoni diplomat named Selith Ka is requesting to speak with you. Webb raised an eyebrow. A diplomat? Now they want to talk. She says she wants to negotiate a surrender. Webb was quiet for a moment. Then he said, put her through. The image of a VTHRoni appeared on the screen. She was young for her species. Her crystal form still bright and unblemished. Her eyes held none of the arrogance Webb had seen in the hierarch. Instead, they held fear and something else, something that looked like shame. General Webb, she said, I am Selith Ka. I speak for those among my people who oppose the destruction of your vessel. We were not consulted. We had no voice in the hierarch's decision, and yet your people celebrated the massacre. Webb said, I have seen the recordings, the displays of our dead as trophies. Kath flinched. Not all of us celebrated. Some of us mourned. Some of us knew that what the hierarch did was wrong. She leaned forward. Please. There must be a way to end this. Not all Vethrani are guilty. Not all of us deserve death. Webb looked at her for a long moment. He thought about his daughter. He thought about her smile. He thought about the last message she had sent him before boarding the olive branch. Don't worry, Dad. Everything is going to be fine. We're going to make history. She had made history, just not the kind she had imagined. Tell me, Webb said quietly, were there innocents on the olive branch? Selith Ka opened mouth. No words came out. Were there children, families, people who had never harmed anyone? Yes, she whispered. Yes, there were. Did the hierarch spare them? Did he show mercy to the innocent? No. Then you have your answer. Webb leaned back. We do not want your surrender. We do not want your apologies. We do not want your excuses. His voice hardened. We want you gone. General, please. You asked if there is a way to end this. There is. When the last Vethrani draws their last breath, this will end. When the council that ordered the deaths of our people no longer exists, this will end. When the galaxy understands that humanity will never ever forget what was done to us, this will end. He stood. Goodbye, Selith Ka. I suggest you spend your remaining time with those you love. The transmission ended. Selith Ka sat alone in her quarters and wept. Crystal tears fell from her eyes and shattered on the floor. She had tried. She had reached out. She had hoped that somewhere in the human heart there was room for mercy, but she had seen Webb's eyes. She had seen the cold, patient hatred that burned there. It was not rage. It was something far worse. It was Purpose the humans had found there. Purpose in the fire of the olive branch. And that purpose was extinction. In the depths of human space, the fleet continued to grow, ships rolled off. Assembly lines every hour, soldiers trained every day, scientists developed new weapons every week. The machine of human vengeance was vast and tireless. But not everyone was comfortable with what they had become. In a bar on Titan, two soldiers sat drinking in silence. One was old, a veteran of the first attacks. The other was young, fresh from training. Is this right? The young soldier asked. What we're doing, we're killing billions, entire species. The veteran took a long drink. Do you know why I fight? For revenge, for the olive branch? No. The veteran sat down his glass. I fight because if we don't finish this, they will come for us again. Maybe not tomorrow, maybe not next year, but they will come. But eventually they will decide to finish what they started. They will come to our worlds and kill our children. They will call us vermin while they slaughter us. He looked at the young soldier. I fight so that my grandchildren never have to. But the innocent, the council killed our innocent and slept soundly that night. They felt nothing. The veteran's voice was hard. I feel everything. Every death weighs on me, but I accept that weight because the alternative is extinction. He stood. War is not about being right. It is about surviving, and humanity will survive no matter the cost. The young soldier sat alone after the veteran left. He thought about the words. He thought about the olive branch. He thought about the billions dying in conquered space. Then he stood, put on his uniform, and returned to his ship. War continued, and humanity continued to win. The galaxy had always known fear. The lesser species had feared the council. The weak had feared the strong. Fear was the foundation of conquered rule. For 10,000 years, the elder races had been the source of that fear. Now they were learning what it meant to be afraid. The human fleet had destroyed the Korath, 300 billion Korath across 47 worlds, gone in less than a month. Species that had provided military might to the council for millennia had been erased from existence, and the humans had not even slowed down. The remaining council races gathered their fleets. Vithrani, the Nethys, the Meldari, the Thrl, the Dari, the Hollow Ones, 6 species that had ruled together for 10,000 years, now huddled together in terror. We must coordinate our defenses, said the Meldari overseer. The humans are powerful, but they are few. If we present a united front, the Korath presented a united front. The Nethys observer interrupted. They had the largest military in the galaxy. The humans destroyed them like they were nothing. The Korath were arrogant. They fought as individuals, not as a collective. And you believe we will do better? The observer's shadow form rippled with dark laughter. We have spent 10,000 years competing with each other. We have sabotaged each other. We have stolen from each other. We have never truly trusted each other. It spread its limbs wide, and now you expect us to unite against an enemy that has already proven it can destroy us. The hierarch slammed his crystalline fist against the table. Enough. We are the elder races. We ruled this galaxy before these vermin crawled from their caves. We will not cower. We will not surrender. We will fight, and we will win. His words rang hollow. Everyone in the chamber knew it, but no one said anything, because what else could they do? Far away in the shadow of a human Fleet, a different kind of meeting was taking place. The Drexy were a small species. They had been conquered by the Council 1,000 years ago. Their world had been stripped of resources. Their people had been enslaved. They had served the elder races with bitter hatred in their hearts, waiting for a chance that never came until now. Ambassador Drexykel stood before Commander Tanaka on the bridge of the Remember, he was a small being with 4 arms and large dark eyes. His translator device converted his clicks and whistles into human words. We wish to help, he said. The Drexy have suffered under council rule for generations. We have information, locations of hidden bases, weaknesses in their defenses. We offer everything we have. Why should we trust you? Because we hate them as much as you do. Drexykelt's large eyes shimmered with emotion. My grandmother was taken as a slave when she was 7 years old. She worked in Bethrani crystal mines until her hands bled every day. She died in those mines. At the age of 30, my mother never knew freedom. I was born in a cage. He straightened his small body with dignity. We have dreamed of this day for 1,000 years. We never thought it would come, but you have made the impossible possible. Tanaka was quiet for a long moment, then she nodded. We accept your help, but understand this. We are not liberators. We are not here to save the galaxy. We are here for one purpose only. We understand, Drexy said. You are here for revenge. We do not judge you for this. We only ask that when the council falls, you remember that there are others who suffered under their rule, others who deserve a chance to live free. Tanaka paused. If we succeed, the council will be gone. What happens after that is not our concern. Tanaka paused. But we will not harm those who did not harm us. The innocent have nothing to fear from humanity. Drexy calf bowed. That is more than the council ever offered. The Drexy were not the only ones to approach humanity. The unnamed, a species so thoroughly conquered that they had forgotten their own name. The hollow folk, beings of living glass who had been hunted nearly to extinction for their beautiful bodies. The broken, the forgotten, the lost species that the council had crushed beneath their heel. They came with intelligence, with resources, with their own burning hatred, and humanity accepted them all. The war was no longer humanity against the galaxy. It was the oppressed against the oppressors, the weak against the strong, the forgotten against those who had forgotten them. And the oppressors were beginning to realize how many enemies they had made. On Vithros Prime, the Vithrani home world, civilians watched the sky with growing terror. News had reached them of the Korath destruction. Rumors spoke of human ships that could not be stopped. Whispers told of a species that read the names of their dead before every battle. Then the broadcasts began. Human ships appeared in orbit, but they did not immediately attack. Instead, they began transmitting across every frequency. Every screen on the planet showed the same footage. Human history. The Vithrani watched in horror as images of human warfare played before them. 2 world wars, millions dead, nuclear weapons turning cities to ash, genocide, mass murder, brother killing brother, species-wide violence on a scale the Vithrani could not comprehend. A human voice accompanied the footage, calm, measured, terrifying. This is what we do to each other, to our own kind, to beings we love. We slaughter each other over lines on maps. Over words and books, over differences. So small that outsiders cannot see them. The voice paused. Now imagine what we will do to you, you who killed our children, you who laughed at our pain, you who called us vermin. The footage changed. Now it showed the olive branch, the peaceful ship, the happy families, the children playing, the garden on deck. 12. This is what you destroyed. This is what you took from us, and this is why we have come. The footage ended. The human ships began their attack. In the Council's hidden fortress station, the hierarch, the destruction of his home whirled with disbelief. Crystal tears ran down his face and shattered on the floor. His people were dying. His civilization was burning, and there was nothing he could do. How did we not see this coming? He whispered. How did we not know what they were? The Nethai's observer stood beside him. Its shadow formed dim with exhaustion. We saw exactly what they were. We saw a violent species that had nearly destroyed itself multiple times. We saw a species capable of unimaginable cruelty to their own kind. It paused. We just assumed that violence was a weakness. We never considered that it might be a strength they have spent their entire existence fighting against nature, against each other, against extinction itself. They have been forged in fire since the day their species began. The observer's voice was almost admiring. We thought ourselves superior because we had achieved peace, but our peace was built on domination, on crushing any threat before it could rise. We never had to fight, not really, not the way they have. The hierarch stared at his dying world. So they are better warriors than us? No, they are not better warriors. They are simply more willing to pay the price. The observer gestured at the view cream. Look at them. They are destroying your world, and they know that they will carry this sin forever. They know that they are becoming monsters, and they do it anyway because the alternative is unacceptable to them. What alternative? Letting us live. The hierarch closed his eyes. In that moment he understood. The humans were not fighting for territory or resources or power. They were not even fighting for revenge. Not really. They were fighting because the Council had taught them a terrible lesson. In this galaxy, the weak are prey. The weak are slaughtered and forgotten. The weak are called vermin, and humans refuse to be weak ever again. In orbit above Prime, Commander Tanaka watched the planet die like Korath Prime before it. The world burned, cities crumbled, millions perished, and still the fleet fired. Selith Ka had tried to reach her again. The young diplomat had begged for mercy for the children, for the innocent, for those who had opposed the hierarch's madness. Tanaka had listened, and then she had asked a single question. Did the hierarch spare our children? Kathka had no answer. There was no answer. The council had killed everyone on the olive branch, men, women, children, the old and the young, the guilty and the innocent. They had made no distinctions, so humanity made no distinctions either. General Webb's voice crackled over the comm. Commander Tanaka, we have located the Council's fortress station. 3 of the 7 hierarchs are confirmed aboard, including the Vithroni leader who ordered the olive branch destroyed. Tanaka turned from the view screen. Her face was a mask of stone. Set course for the station. Understood. The fleet is assembling. This will be the final battle. No. Tanaka's voice was quiet but firm. This will be the final execution. The battle ended the moment they destroyed the olive branch. They just didn't know it yet. She looked around. The bridge, her crew looked back at her. With tired eyes, they had seen too much. Death, they had caused too much death. They would carry this weight forever. But they would carry it together, all. Hands, Tanaka said over the ship wide. Come, we are moving to the final target. The Council's hidden fortress. The beings who ordered the death of our people are there. She paused. I know what we have done. I know what we have become. I know that some of you wonder if we have gone too far. The ship was silent, waiting. We have gone too far. We crossed that line the moment we decided that extinction was the only acceptable answer. We will never be what we were before the olive branch. We will never be innocent again, but we will be alive. Our children will be alive. Our species will survive, and no one will ever call us vermin again. She straightened. Battle stations. We end this today. The Nemesis fleet turned toward the Council's hidden fortress. The final reckoning was about to begin. The Council's fortress station had been hidden for 10,000 years. It floated in a nebula of purple and gold, surrounded by layers of defense that had never been tested. The elder races had believed it was invincible. They had believed no enemy would ever find it. They had been wrong. The human fleet emerged from slip space in perfect formation. 700 capital ships, 12,000 support vessels, the combined might of a species that had spent 5 years preparing for this moment. Arrayed against them was everything the Council had left, the remnants of 6 fleets gathered from across the galaxy. Ships of crystal and shadow and living metal, thousands of vessels crewed by beings who knew they were fighting for their survival. It should have been an even battle, perhaps even a victory for the Council. They had desperation, but the humans had something more powerful. They had names. Before the first shot was fired, Commander Tanaka opened a channel to every ship in the fleet. Her voice was calm and steady as she began to read. Alina Vasquez, David Chen May, Tanaka, Sarah Chen, James Morrison, Anna Rodriguez, Tommy Anderson, age 7, Rebecca Park, age 4. The names went on. 2,000 names, 2,000 human beings who had died in this very region of space. Mothers and fathers, sons and daughters, scientists and diplomats, children who had never had a chance to grow up. Council fleet listened in confusion. They did not understand. They did not know why the humans were wasting time with words when they should be fighting. They did not know that for humans these words were the reason for the fight. When the last name was spoken, Tanaka's voice hardened. Open fire. The battle began. It was not like the previous engagements. This time the Council fought back. Their ships were powerful. Their crews were determined. Human vessels exploded in bursts of light. Human soldiers died by the thousands. The price of vengeance was being paid in blood, but humans had spent their entire existence paying prices in blood. Remember pushed forward through the carnage around it. Sister ships provided cover. Lieutenant Parks shouted. Damage reports from his console. Fires burned on 3 decks. The shields were failing. The hull was breaching. Commander Parks said, we're taking too much damage. We need to fall back. Tanaka looked at the view screen. The fortress station loomed ahead, protected by the last layer of defense ships. So close. So far, negative, she said. All power to forward shields. Ram speed. Commander, that's suicide. That's the job. Tanaka turned to face her. Crew, I'm not ordering anyone to stay. If you want to evacuate, do it now. No. One moved, Commander, said a young. Anson, we started this together. We finish it together. Tanaka felt tears in her eyes. She blinked them away. Then, let's finish it. The Remember accelerated. Around it, human ships closed formation. They formed a wedge, a battering ram of metal and determination. Council ships tried to stop them. Some succeeded. Human vessels exploded. Human lives ended, but the wedge pushed forward. The Remember hit the fortress station's shields at full speed. The impact was tremendous. The ship buckled, decks collapsed. Hundreds died in an instant, but the shields flickered and failed, and behind the Remember, the rest of the human fleet poured through. General Webb led the marine assault. His shuttle crashed through the fortress's hull and disgorged 50 soldiers into enemy territory. They fought their way through corridors of crystal and shadow, killing everything in their path. Webb had lost his left arm to VTHRoni energy blade. In the first minute, he did not stop. He wrapped the stump in bandages and kept fighting. The pain was nothing compared to what he had felt watching his daughter die. General, said his sergeant, we've located the council chamber. 3 hierarchs confirmed inside. Then that's where we're going. They fought through the last defenders, FTHRoni warriors, Nephi's assassins, elite guards from every remaining elder race. They died one by one, cut down by human weapons and human fury. The doors to the council chamber were 3 m tall and half a meter thick. Webb placed a shaped charge and blew them off their hinges. Inside, 3 beings waited. The Vithrani hierarch stood at the center. His crystal body was dim and cracked with age and fear. Beside him stood the Nephi's observer, its shadow form trembling, and behind them cowered the Meldari overseer, the last of the council. General Webb, the hierarch, said. His voice was still arrogant. Even now, even at the end, you have won. We acknowledge this. Now let us discuss terms. Webb walked forward slowly. His soldiers spread out behind him, weapons trained on the hierarchs. His mechanical armor placement hummed softly with each step. Terms, he said. Surrender terms. Reparations, whatever you require. The hierarch with 1 crystal in hand. We can give you territory, technology, slaves from the lesser species, anything you want. Webb stopped a few meters from the hierarch. He pulled up a hologram from his wrist device. The image of the olive branch appeared floating in the air between them. Do you remember this ship? Webb asked quietly. The hierarch looked at the image. The human vessel. I ordered its destruction. Why? Because your kind was becoming troublesome. You were spreading too quickly. Other species were starting to notice you. I needed to send a message. A message. Webb's voice was flat. You killed 2,000 innocent people. You murdered children. And it was just a message to you. You must understand from our perspective. I understand perfectly. Webb gestured and the hologram changed. Now it showed the last moments of the Olive Bridge, the escape pods being shot down, the bodies tumbling through space, the final explosion that ended everything. My daughter was on that ship. Webb said. Her name was Alina. She was 32 years old. She believed in peace. She believed that if humanity reached out with open hands, we would find friends. He paused. She was wrong. The hierarch took a step back. For the first time, real fear showed in his crystal features. General Please, I admit it freely, but surely we can move past. Did Alina get a chance to beg for her life? I know. Did the children on the olive branch get to plead for mercy? No. But then neither do you. Webb raised his weapon. Hierarch raised his hands in a final, useless gesture of defense. Wait, the Hierarch cried, we can be useful to you. We have knowledge, technology. We have ruled this galaxy for 10,000 years. We can help you rule it. Webb paused for a moment. Something flickered in his eyes. Something human, mercy perhaps, or doubt. Then he remembered his daughter's smile. He remembered the last message she had sent him. He remembered the recordings of council celebrations after the massacre, the laughter, the displays of human bodies as trophies. We don't want to rule the galaxy, Webb said. We just want you gone. He fired the hierarchs. Crystal body shattered. The Neph observer tried to flee and was cut down by marine fire. The Meldari overseer surrendered and was executed where he stood. In minutes it was over. The council that had ruled the galaxy for 10,000 years had ended in a room full of human soldiers and the smell of burning crystal. Weddy stood among the bodies and felt nothing. No triumph, no satisfaction, just emptiness. General, his sergeant said, the station is secure. What are your orders? Webb was quiet for a long moment. Then he activated his communicator. This is General Marcus Webb broadcasting to all surviving conquered forces and to every species that can hear this message. His voice echoed across the galaxy. The conquered council is dissolved. The hierarchs are dead. The elder races will be remembered as a warning, not a legacy. He paused, gathering his thoughts. To every species they oppressed, enslaved, and murdered, you are free, but remember this. Humanity did not do this because we are monsters. We did this because we will not be prey. His voice hardened. Harm us, and we will erase you. Befriend us, and we will bleed for you. The choice has always been yours. The transmission ended far away on the broken bridge of the remainder. Commander Tanaka heard the message. She was dying. She knew that the crash had broken too many things inside her, but she smiled. We did it, May, she whispered. We kept our promise. She closed her eyes and let go. 50 years later, the galaxy was different. The council was gone, remembered only as a cautionary tale. In its place, a new coalition had formed. The new alliance, hundreds of species working together as equals. No masters, no slaves, no lesser beings. Humanity was part of the alliance, but they had refused to lead it. They did not want to become what they had destroyed. They wanted to be partners, not rulers, teachers, not conquerors. In the void where the olive branch had been destroyed, a memorial drifted. Silence, a monument of black stone, inscribed with 2,000 names. Ships of 100 species passed it every day, leaving offerings, flowers, crystals, small tokens of remembrance. A young girl walked through the memorial's observation deck. She was Thrani, one of the last. Her crystal form was bright and beautiful, untouched by the shadows of her ancestors' crimes. She had been raised by human foster parents after the war. She had learned to love both her heritage and her adopted family. Her name was Hope. Her parents had given her that name deliberately. She placed a bouquet of flowers at the base of the memorial, real flowers from Earth. She had grown them herself. Behind her, an elderly human watched. He was very old now. His hair was white, His mechanical arm was tarnished with age, but his eyes were still sharp, still haunted. Marcus Webb had never stopped visiting the memorial. He came every year on that anniversary. He read every name. He remembered every face. Why do you come here? Hope asked. Webb looked at her. This child who was his enemy's legacy. This innocent who had been born after the war. This symbol of everything he had fought for and everything he had fought against. To remember, he said, what they did to us and what we became. To stop it. What did you become? Webb was quiet for a long time. We became something terrible, something necessary, something I hope we never have to be. Again, he looked at the memorial, at the 2,000 names carved in stone. They called us vermin. They said we were nothing, so we showed them what nothing could do. Hope nodded slowly. She understood in her way. She had read the histories. She knew what the council had done. She knew what humanity had done in response. She did not judge either side. She was too young for that kind of bitterness. Do you regret it? She asked. Webb considered the question carefully. I regret that it was necessary. I regret what we lost along the way. We lost our innocence. We lost the ability to see ourselves as purely good. He paused. But I do not regret that my grandchildren are alive. I do not regret that no one will ever again casually murder human children for a political message. So it was worth it. I don't know if it was worth it. I don't know if anything could be worth what we did. Webb smiled sadly. But it was done, and we have to live with that, all of us, humans and Vithrani, and every other species in this galaxy. Hope placed her hand on the memorial stone. The names were cool beneath her fingers. Elena Vasquez Metanica. Tommy Anderson, age 7. I will remember, she said softly. I will teach my children to remember what was done to you. All of it. Webb nodded. That's all anyone can ask. They stood together in silence. An old human and a young Vithrani, united by history and loss and the fragile hope of a better future. Behind them the stars burned cold and eternal. They had witnessed the extinction of the elder races. They had seen empires rise and fall. They had watched humanity transform from prey into predator and back into something approaching peace, and they would keep watching because that was what stars did. They remembered, even when everyone else forgot. In the end, that was the only memorial that truly mattered. Not the stone, not the names, but the memory that lived on in every being who heard the story. The conquered council had signed humanity's death warrant when they destroyed the olive branch.